Hey everyone, welcome back. So we need to finish off our pie slicer by adding a handle that kind of goes off on the top. So that way it'll look something similar to this handle. So we have a cylinder. This part is kind of like our cylinder that is going up. That is that piece right there. And now we're going to do this part. So we'll make that a cylinder that is quite long, almost as long as our slicer is. So we might make it about 80. So let's go back here to our Tinkercad and let's go up here and let's add a cylinder. And we'll make the radius of our cylinder 5 so it matches the radius of the little cylinder sticking up. So that radius will be 5. And let's make the height, we won't make it 80, let's just make it 60 for right now. And everything else is going to be good. So let's run this and see what happens. So there's my first cut, and there's my next cut, and here's my cylinder, and move and rotate. So I need to rotate my cylinder that I just added. I need to rotate it around the x-axis so it's laying flat. So let's get a purple block, and let's rotate it around the x-axis 90 degrees. That's going to be perfect. So let's run this and see what it looks like. So first block, second cut, cylinder and rotate, and cylinder and rotate. And so let's move this out all the way to the edge. So I need to move it at least 80 plus 30 more for that part of my cylinder. So we're going to move it 90 total in the Y direction. So let's move. And we're going to rotate it in the Y direction. Again, 80 plus 30, which is 110. So let's see what happens. Cut, 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 cut. Move, rotate. There it is. And we could probably move it up as well. So we want to move it up 7.5, the same as our other cylinder was moved up. So we'll go 7.5. Let's rotate that again. And so let's see how that will look. I'll probably need to move that up a little bit more, not 7.5. We probably need to move that up a little bit further because there's also 10 more. So we'll make that 17.5. Let's try this, and then we'll add a 17.5 there. See what that does. So all the cutting, there's my first little cylinder over, and there's that, and up. Yes. So now we need to rotate this around the pivot point, which is the origin, and we'll want to rotate it 22.5 degrees like we did the other one. So let's rotate this around the z-axis. We want to rotate it 22.5 degrees, and we want to use our pivot point of 0, 0, 0. So let's see what happens. I can't wait to see. Let's go. So boom, boom. There's the first cut. Second cut. There's my first cylinder and rotate around. There's that one. Rotate up and rotate around. And this is looking pretty good. So I think the only thing it's hard to see. It's hard to see because I'm keeping it there. I'm not moving it to the center, which I could. I want to put a little cylinder right there, or a little sphere. So let's add a sphere to our mix. I also need to add a sphere to the tip. So I want to add a sphere right there. And I also want to add a sphere right there. And so the radius of my sphere is going to be 5. And I'll make that 5. I'm going to want to move it just like I moved my cylinder. So I'm going to get a move block. And I'm going to move it in the Y direction 80. And I'm going to move it up 17.5. And then I also want to rotate it just like I did my cylinder around the z-axis by 22.5 degrees. And I want to rotate it around the pivot point 0, 0, 0. And so let's see what happens. First cut, next cut, cylinder and rotate around, cylinder and go to the handle. And that looks good. We could just add another cylinder. We want to go 80 plus 60 when we move it. So it would move the same amount. So let's add another cylinder, another sphere, excuse me, another sphere. And we want to move it just like we did before. So we want to move it in the y direction 80 plus 60, which is 140, because the 60 is the height of that handle. And we want the z number to be 17.5, so it moves up. And then we want to rotate it around, just like we did before. We want to rotate it around the z-axis by 22.5 degrees, and we want to use the pivot point, again, of 0, 0, 0. So we rotate around the center. So let's see what happens. So there is this piece, boom, 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 cut there. There's the triangle. There's the cylinder, and there's a sphere, and there's the last one. Oh, I forgot to change the radius, didn't I? So let's make the radius 5 and do it again. Here we go. And my dog is barking because Jenny is home. So that's that. Hope it's helpful. Hold on.